We'll go first to David DeGilly, T Online. Please go ahead.
Hello, Stephanie. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you. Now, with War 25 ahead next week, and the women's revolution in mind, and the development and the focus that is on women in WWE right now, what has changed from 25 years ago to today?
What has changed from 25 years ago to today? A number of different things have changed, but first I would like to say what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed is that our mission is to put smiles on people's faces the world over. What hasn't changed is that we are the most interactive brand in all of entertainment, and the reason for that is because our fans are a part of our show. They tell us live what they love, what they don't like, and worse, what they don't care about. We're, in essence, getting this live, real-time feedback ever since the very first Monday Night Raw. Then you add in all of our digital and social media components, and that is what has changed. And that only gives us the ability to amplify the ability to reach and engage with our fan base.
And getting back to the women's revolution right now, what do you think that this special development, what has triggered that development, in your opinion, in the last, I think it started in 2015, and until now, with War 25 in mind?
Well, in terms of the women's evolution, I think there's been a number of triggers. I think, first and foremost, dating all the way back to the very first women to ever step inside a wrestling ring, regardless of whether it was WWE. I think about my relationships with the fabulous Moolah or the great Mae Young and what they had to go through to make a name, for themselves, competing in what was a very male-dominated world. But what really happened is my husband, in terms of WWE, my husband, who is Triple H, and Paul Levesque is his real name, and he is now the executive in charge of talent development. And what he started doing was recruiting elite athletes from all over the world, whether they be male or female. And these elite athletes, he started training them the same as the men. He started giving them the same opportunity to tell stories in the ring, the same as the men. And what resulted was this huge groundswell of our audience chanting for our women and chanting women's wrestling and this is wrestling. And it really gave rise to the voice of our audience because, again, our audience knows that they impact the content in our show. And then in a match in 2015 that lasted all of 30 seconds, they started a hashtag, Give Divas a Chance. Yeah. And it trended worldwide for 3 days. And they were calling for more athleticism, better character development, better storylines for our women. And their voices were so loud that our chairman and CEO, Vince McMahon, responded and said, we hear you. Keep watching. Give Divas a chance. And then at WrestleMania, we had WWE Hall of Famer Lita go out on our biggest stage in front of over 101,000 people and announced the rebranding of the Divas division to the women's division. She unveiled the new championship belt and announced that women were going to be called superstars, same as the men. And now, after many first-time matches, after many main event pay-per-views and television shows, our women, for the very first time ever, are going to compete in a Royal Rumble match.
Yeah. And that's another milestone, I'd say, in women's wrestling, especially in WWE. And now, let's just say, looking 5 years into the future, we just look 25 years back, let's take a look 5 years into the future. What would be the ideal development for you? What still has to change even more, perhaps?
Well, I think we're just getting started. I think there's a lot of room to grow. And, I don't think we will have made it until we have women main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much again for the opportunity to talk with you. I'm looking forward to World 25 and to following and writing about everything WWE on tonline.de.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
And we'll take our next question from Marco Arcoli, Republica. Please go ahead.
Hello, Stephanie. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you. My first question is, you grew up watching wrestling, then you became a truly part of it, and now as executive member, you have the task of making it increase. You know the sports entertainment like few in the world. What is, in your opinion, the secret which gives to WWE the power to be always on the top?
Well, we haven't always been on the top. I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. But the real reason why I think WWE remains so relevant and continues to grow, really for over the past 50 years, is because we're all about storytelling. You know, no different than a great opera, play, book, or sitcom. You know, it's protagonist versus antagonist with conflict resolution. The only difference is that our conflicts are settled inside a 20 by 20 foot ring with some of the greatest live action you can see in sports or entertainment. And when you have that connection to your audience, when your audience is a part of the show influencing the storytelling, and you have larger than life but still relatable characters, the audience has the opportunity to engage and live their fantasy through these characters, no different than they do any other form of media. And that really is, you know, the secret to our success.
WWE is constantly evolving. The growing up of the women division says it, as well as the admission of new talents from all over the world. Given that from Italy until today there is the only Fabian Eichner, is there any particular news for any eventual plans for Italy?
Absolutely. There's going to be an announcement hopefully soon about plans all over the world. And certainly we welcome more Italian superstars. We welcome more superstars from all countries because WWE is a reflection of our global culture. And we want to make sure that we're representative of our audience everywhere.
And the last one for me, is there any chance to see you compete for the first ever Women's Royal Rumble?
Well, I cannot give away our secrets. You're going to have to stay tuned.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Francesco Palmerini at Noises.
Hi, these are questions for Sky Sports Italy. So, throughout the 25 years of WWE Raw's history, you have been involved in a significant amount of highly controversial episodes. Which is the one you would like to delete from your career?
Which is the episode I would like to delete from my career? Is that the question?
Yes.
I don't know that I would want to delete any episode from my career. It's the same thing as being asked, do you have any regrets in your life? That's not to say that you don't make some mistakes along the way and learn from those mistakes, but I think that everything I've done has helped shape who I am in life as a performer, as an executive, so I would never want to delete any of those experiences.
Okay, and in these 25 years of Raw, which WWE superstar you have got along the best and which one you just couldn't stand for? So the best and the worst, in your opinion, to speak about.
I don't necessarily speak about the best and the worst because that's all subjective. I think that there's been a number of incredible performers, but really it's our audience who determines, who the biggest stars are and who the ones are that just quite don't make it.
Okay? And
but if I'm to be cheeky, to use one of Dan's... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. And in April of 2007, Raw was held for the first time and for now only time in Milan, Italy. Do you think there is a chance we could witness something like that in the future, or we just should come to terms with the fact that it was a once-in-a-lifetime?
I don't think you should ever come to terms necessarily with the status quo. I think that, certainly we should be excited about expanding and growing and hopefully, coming back soon.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, that is star one if you would like to signal for a question. We'll go next to Ricardo Garcia, Medio Tiempo.
Hey, Steph, how are you? This is Ricardo Garcia calling you from Mexico City. I wanted to ask you a couple of quick... doing fine, thank you. Just a couple of quick questions. The first one, what do you think is the main legacy Raw will leave for the world of sports entertainment, television in general?
I think the main legacy that Raw will leave is interactivity, just truly the ultimate engagement with your audience, with your consumer. I think the theatricality, the larger-than-life characters, the storytelling, the debate, that all of it has enhanced modern-day television from sports to entertainment to even the news.
Okay, and my second and last question, if you had to pick a male and a female wrestler to be called Mr. and Mrs. Monday Night Raw, who do you think they should be?
Is that a trick question? I think that would have to be the authority, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H.
Okay, Steph. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll see you soon and wish you the best luck.
Thank you very much.
We'll go next to Miguel Perez, Neox.
Hi, Stephanie. Miguel from Spain. How are you?
I am good, Miguel. How are you?
Fine, thanks. You have been an essential part of what Monday Night Raw is, and this Monday they are celebrating 25 years. What do you feel to be part of this celebration?
I feel incredibly proud to be a part of the celebration of 25 years of Monday Night Raw, which is a show that my father created. When you think about the impact and the legacy that Monday Night Raw has had on the media, entertainment, and sports worlds, it's significant. And I'm just so incredibly proud to be there to celebrate this milestone.
Well, I want to continue talking about your legacy, and I have a very good question for you. Would you like your Dodgers to continue in this wrestling business in the future?
Well, I have my daughters and my 3 nephews, my brother's sons. And I would just like to say I want my children to live their dreams, whatever those dreams might be. If they wind up with WWE, I will be incredibly proud. But if they choose to do something else in their lives that they love, that they're passionate about, I would equally support and be proud of them for living those dreams. My only requirement is that they work hard, because I think a strong work ethic is incredibly important.
Okay, and the last question, my last question is, do you want to wrestle, to have a match versus Ronda Rousey at the WrestleMania 34 in Orleans?
Well, I think first and foremost, we would have to officially make Ronda Rousey a part of the WWE roster. So we'll have to wait and see if that's going to happen.
Okay, Stephanie. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you all the WWE for the opportunity. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next question is from Gaurav Sarkar, Midday Newspaper, Bombay.
Hi, Stephanie. Gaurav here from Bombay, India. How are you doing?
I am excellent. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, just getting done with work. So, Stephanie, I have a couple of questions. I'll make it slightly quick. So you have been a part of WWE since most of us can remember. And, today when we've reached this milestone where we are actually going to see the all-women's first ever Royal Rumble, is there any sort of advice you would like to give today's women wrestlers, today's divas, today's superstars, coming from you, any sort of advice for them before this big match?
Any kind of advice. I think these women could be the ones giving me the advice because they are the ones who have made this movement happen. Their incredible talent, their athleticism, their character, their courage, their perseverance. I mean, I am in awe of them. In terms of being a performer, all I would tell them is to soak it in, to absolutely enjoy every minute of being a part of this historic match and not to take it too lightly because they truly are a part of history, and they are not only a part of history, they are making history.
Okay. All right. And my second question that I would like to follow with is for the longest time, WWE did not have a women's Royal Rumble or a dedicated event for women when it comes to the Royal Rumble. What would you say led to this change? What led to this change in the fact that, hey, we actually do need to have a dedicated Royal Rumble for women as well?
Well, I think I've answered that in terms of the women's evolution, so not to be repetitive, I will just add, I think what changed is our fans demanding that this happen. I mean, I can't tell you what I've had the opportunity to do. I'll tell you a story that I haven't told yet on this call. I had the opportunity on Monday Night Raw as a character to come out to the ring and to make this incredible announcement. And what was probably one of my most memorable moments of Monday Night Raw, because the women in the ring who had just been competing in a 6-woman tag match had no idea what I was going to say. And I came out and I had the opportunity to talk about the fact that these women have been making history. This year in 2017, we had the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, the first ever women's Money in the Bank match. And for the first time ever in Abu Dhabi, WWE women competed for the very first time in the Middle East for the WWE Women's Championship, and a chant broke out in the arena that said, "This is hope. This is hope."
Sure.
And that chant came from our fans. We didn't direct that chant. It came from them. And I think what's most significant about this movement is that it is our audience that wants this to happen, because these women have fought so hard. It's like every member of our audience that's fought so hard for any opportunity that they've ever wanted, but just haven't had the chance to rise.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody collectively is making this opportunity happen. And these women, when they have the chance, they absolutely are stealing the spotlight. That's what's so significant.
Great. I would like to end with the last one. Sure. Go on, sir.
Okay. No, go ahead. It's okay.
My last question would be, so this, I've been watching WWE since I was a teenager, since probably I was 12, 13 years old, yeah? And this seems like the first step towards WWE and women empowerment coming together. So we know that you do a lot of women empowerment, social outreach, stand up for the cause, So do you think that it is that trickle-down effect and it's sort of your vision that is manifesting itself on Monday Night Raw?
I wouldn't take sole credit, in terms of the women's evolution. Sure, it was my vision, but it wasn't just my vision. The women's evolution and this whole move for equality in WWE has been the vision of any number of our fans, of our performers, of our executives, of so many people. So I'm just so proud to be a part of it and to be able to help make it happen.
Great. Okay. Thanks a lot for your time, Stephanie, and we all look forward to seeing the event.
Thank you very much.
We'll go next to Neil Docking, Daily Mirror.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm good, Neil. How are you? Long time no talk.
Yeah, very well, very well. Good to talk to you again. Really excited for Raw 25 coming up. I just wanted to look back at the start of Raw, January 1993. By my calculations, you were 16. What do you remember of, of that happening, of the sort of days leading up to it, discussions with your dad? What was the kind of, the mood and the atmosphere and the decision behind launching this, genre-breaking show?
Well, Neil, I wish I could say, but to your point, I was 16 years old. I was a junior in high school, and I think I was probably trying to figure out who I was in life. I wasn't necessarily a part of those conversations at the time.
What are your memories of the first show then? You even just, did you watch it yourself? I mean, were you a viewer at that time?
I truthfully do not remember. I certainly have watched WWE programming my whole entire life. I do not necessarily remember that it was the very first Monday Night Raw. What I do remember is when I watched Raw, what I felt. And what I felt was that something had changed. Something had shifted. We went from Saturday morning programming to suddenly becoming live. The tag phrase was uncooked, uncut, uncensored. It was this direct connection to our audience. It was Monday nights. It felt electric. It felt alive. And that's what I remember most about those early days, even now, when I think of Monday Night Raw.
All right, great. Well, I wasn't trying to catch you out there, testing your memory.
That's okay.
I'll go forward a few years. I think you will remember this. We first saw you on Raw in 1998. I guess by this time you'd graduated, and you were in like a backstage segment with Stone Cold asking you where the Undertaker was. What was that like? And did you take some convincing, to go on television to be part of the show?
Well, as often happens at Monday Night Raw and at WWE television, it's a lot of run and gun because it is live. And what I mean by run and gun, it's a production term where, you have your crew, basically, they're on the fly, they're on the go, they're on the move. And we needed an extra for Stone Cold to ask where The Undertaker was. So really, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I got thrown into that scene. It wasn't a strategic decision for Stephanie McMahon, Vince's daughter, to make her debut on television. I was really just an extra in the moment, and it was incredible. I mean, to be a part of the show with Austin, that was certainly a memorable moment for me.
Yeah, I love how polite you are, saying no, sir, and all right, sir. When we're used to you, staring down these superstars and giving them a piece of your mind.
Well, I guess it took me a little while to find my voice.
You've been using it since. And you went on to be such a big part of the show, such a figure. A women's champion, and this authority figure down the years. I guess Raw has been a huge part of your life.
It has. Monday Night Raw has been a huge part of my life, and when you think about it, I mean, life imitated art. That's how I met my husband. And now we have 3 beautiful girls. And another unusual twist of fate that happens in WWE. It really is this sort of Greek mythology, where characters have dual personas and everyone's relationships are intertwined, this whole notion of 6 degrees of separation. We recently did a panel at the Critics Association in the U.S., and what I loved so much about that panel, it was the Miz and Maryse and Mark Henry and Shawn Michaels and me and Triple H, were the stories that were told, because it wasn't about particular moments or matches. It was about this family that we've all become. And that's why we call it the WWE Universe, because our fans are a part of that family. Our stars are a part of that family. Our employees are a part of that family. And it really is this unbelievable feeling to be a part of.
No, lovely. Well, nice to talk to you again. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Our next question comes from Patrick Lennon, Daily Star newspaper.
Hello, Stephanie. Good afternoon or good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
I wanted to ask you, my colleagues have covered Raw 25 very well. I wanted to ask you something about the Women's Revolution, Steph, and your role as Chief Branding Officer. You spend a lot of time going away to places like China, all over the world. How much do the women feature in your pitch, if you don't mind me asking, as ambassadors of WWE, when you're selling Raw as a TV show, when you're selling the WWE brand? I suppose I'm asking you how far things have come in that regard. Do you put the women front and centre of your corporate pitches as well as your TV program?
Absolutely, I do. Our women are an integral part of our company, of our business, of our storylines, and I tell their story as often and as loud as I possibly can.
And, for example, you know, the recent match in the UAE, which was amazing. You know, Sasha Banks and Alexa were rightly very emotional about that match. How do you approach that? Because sometimes, you know, putting the women in that position can be a touchy subject depending on where you are in the world, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And, you know, we regularly have conversations with our talent, whether it's about storyline, if it's about merchandise, if it's about, you know, touring, if it's about, you know, having a match like the one Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss had in the UAE for the first time ever. And those women, I will tell you, were so proud. They were so proud to be a part of history, to have ring gear made that was respectful of the culture and of the country, to be able to represent what women can do as athletes, as performers, as people, as individuals, when given the chance. That was a unique opportunity that they both embraced.
It certainly was. And I suppose you must take great pride and realise the opportunity that you have, because as a production company, a wrestling company, whatever term you'd like to describe it as, you can go to these places and maybe change the world like you did in the UAE. You've got 800 million social media followers, 12 billion views in the last 12 months on YouTube. You've got a very rare opportunity and something quite unique there, don't you agree?
I think that WWE is the most unique form of content in the world. We are a global media company. And I think that as long as we're fulfilling our mission of putting smiles on people's faces the world over, I think that that's our greatest gift, you know, to be able to help a child who is sick forget that they're sick, forget that they're enduring treatment, even for a couple of hours watching a show, to give that gift to their parents, to see that joy on their child's face, or even not so serious, just someone who's having a really hard day who can escape in the storytelling and fun of WWE. I mean, that's our gift to the world. And hopefully, as you mentioned, we're actually the number 2 most viewed YouTube channel in the world, behind a channel called T-Series, which is a Bollywood series, and our over 850 million social media followers, etc. You know, hopefully we can use those platforms to continue to spread joy.
And final question from me, Stephanie. I mean, with power like that comes great responsibility, doesn't it, in this modern world, particularly on social media? How do you do that for kids, for women, to make sure that the WWE's message is one of belief and empowerment rather than maybe some more negative things?
I think that it's all in the stories that we tell, the real life stories of what's happening, of what these women have overcome. When you think about Alexa Bliss, who on SportsCenter told the story of how she overcame an eating disability that almost killed her twice, and you look at where she is today. You think about Sasha Banks, who stayed home as a child to help teach her brother, who was autistic, so her mother could go to work, and who was homeless for any number of years. You think about her story, and that perseverance is a real life story that I think we can all be inspired by, and including the storylines that happen in the ring. And with digital and social media, I always believe that the purpose of that platform, for me, is yes, about important messaging and connecting the world, but it's also about inspiring and putting out positive messaging. You know, too often we can get sucked into the negative conversation, and negativity begets negativity. I choose to err on the other side of the spectrum because positivity absolutely begets positivity, and that's where WWE needs to be.
I think that's beautifully put. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Steph.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Giuseppe Di Giovanni, Gazzetta dello Sport.
Hello, Stephanie. My name is Giuseppe Di Giovanni from Gazzetta dello Sport. My first question, you changed a lot of characters in your career. Which is your favorite personality of Stephanie McMahon in the ring?
My favorite in-ring personality of Stephanie McMahon has to be the ultimate antagonist as a member of the Authority, because I love portraying the villain. I love the feeling of interacting and engaging with our audience live. I love the opportunity to surprise them when they think they're going to get me with a chant, and I have the chance to hopefully be quick on my feet and redirect that chant, because our audience loves to have fun. They know I'm playing a role. They love to play along with me. So I have to say, I think that is my favorite character.
In this moment, in the WWE, there are many talents. In your opinion, is one of the best period, I'm speaking about the quality of the wrestlers, technician on the mixed heel, is the best period one of the best in the history?
I do agree that the athleticism has absolutely evolved over the past 25 years of Monday Night Raw. It is incredible to watch these performers in the ring and the things that they can do, the stunts, the aerial maneuvers. We've actually toyed with the idea of doing a show based on the principles of physics that allow these performers to actually, complete these incredible acts. But it takes a lot more than just athleticism to be a WWE superstar. It takes charisma. It takes the ability to, speak publicly and interact with the crowd. It takes the ability to really let the crowd in and to be a part of what you're doing. And you can't just find that anywhere.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for this answer for the question, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Scott Felspeed, Muscle and Fitness Magazine.
Hi, Steph. Just wanted to say thank you very much for doing this call. It's been really interesting listening to everybody else's answers. I just wanted to start with a quick question and say, now that Raw is watched by 40%, female viewers, there's going to be a lot of girls and women out there looking at Raw and saying, how do I become a part of that? what advice would you give to a young person who's starting out on a career in sports entertainment?
The advice I would give to a young person starting off a career with the goal of becoming a WWE superstar would be to stay in school. Your education comes first. You can be a WWE superstar. You can be the biggest star in the world, but eventually one day that won't be there, and you need to have something to fall back on. Also in education, it helps you in so many aspects of your life, not just your future, but your present. I would recommend public speaking for sure, as much as you possibly can. I would recommend sports, because in life, again, it's not just WWE, but in life, sports teach you so much. You learn your limits. You learn the fact that you can push beyond your limits. You learn teamwork if you're in a team sport. You learn to win as a team, to lose as a team, to strategize, to analyze, how you played and what worked and what didn't work. All of those skills that you learn playing sports are absolutely applicable to life, to work, and especially to WWE.
Sure, yeah, no, that's a great answer. And coming from your perspective as well, because you grew up in WWE where it was, of course, as we talked about, male-dominated back in the beginning. But from your perspective, specifically, I'm just wondering if there are moments or maybe there's a performer or something happened one day that made you realise that, one day women are going to contribute just as much as the men, which is what's happened now.
I don't know that there was a specific moment, but I never doubted that it would happen. My mom was the CEO of WWE while I was growing up. I never saw gender as a barrier because I saw her as the leader of our company. And I think it's very important in our society to be able to see women in these roles, because then there's no question, there's no doubt about whether or not little girls or other women can aspire to be just that. And in my mind, when I was watching as a little girl, and I loved WWE my whole life, I always thought that the women would have a bigger presence and a bigger role. There was never a doubt in my mind, but there was also never a specific moment in my mind when I thought, oh, this is it, now it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And obviously, final question, you guys are pushing for more and more female involvement and possibly a WrestleMania main event. I mean, how far away do you think we are from that?
I don't think we're very far away at all from that. From women main eventing WrestleMania to, playing an even larger role across our programming. I think that we're getting there. I think we're not that far away at all.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Guys, we've got the last 5 minutes now of the call, so if you haven't had a chance to ask a question, make sure you press star 1. We've probably got 1, maybe 2 more callers to ask a question, so get pushing. Good luck.
And our next question will come from Ryan Seidel, Sport Bible.
Hi, Stephanie. First of all,
Ryan.
What do you think is the biggest change in wrestling in the last 25 years?
I think the biggest change has been, in terms of content, is the evolution of storytelling, the ability to tell those stories across multiple platforms, and the increased level of athleticism of our performers.
Okay, that's brilliant. What is your favourite moment from the last 25 years? One that you've taken part in and one that you've not taken part in but you've watched as well.
My most favorite moment is the moment that I spoke about before, when I had the opportunity to announce the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. And one of the reasons why is because I had the chance to acknowledge the women in the ring, the women on Monday Night Raw, the women on SmackDown Live, on NXT, and any woman to ever step foot inside a wrestling ring, regardless of what promotion they worked for. because they're all a part of this moment in time. They're all a part of making it happen. And the women in the ring didn't know what I was going to say. And we were chastised by some fans because we broke character. And I told the women earlier in the day, they knew I was coming out, but they didn't know what I was going to say. And I told them, react naturally. Don't feel like you have to be in character. It's okay for you to react how you want to react to whatever I'm going to say. And we all broke character that night. And we had this very real moment with each other and with the audience, because again, our audience is such a huge part of making this happen. And when that yes chant broke out, I had goosebumps from head to toe, because this is happening. And we are all a part of making it happen. And it's happening not because it's a moment for women. It's happening because these women are making it happen, and they've absolutely earned everything.
Brilliant. And one last one, if I can. Where do you think WWE will be in 25 years' time?
I think WWE will be even bigger. I think in some ways we'll be more localized, because I think we will have more local presence in countries all over the world. I think we will be bigger in terms of our television presence, in terms of our network, certainly, in terms of our digital and social presence, in terms of the products and services we offer our fans, like the partnership we just announced with NextVR. Wherever our fans are, we want to be, and whatever experiences they demand, we want to provide it. So as long as there is a demand out there for our product, then we're going to be there.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, and good luck for Monday.
Thank you.
Next question has got to be our last one, I'm afraid. So, Laurie, pick wisely.
Certainly. We'll go next to Hiromi Tokumasuni, WWE Japan.
I'm going to be asking a question on behalf of Japanese media. And our first question is, what is the expectation for Asuka?
The expectation for Asuka is that she's going to continue to break the ceiling and set new levels and new bars in WWE.
Thank you. And we have the top Japanese talents in Shinsuke and Hideo and Tozawa and Kairi. What do you think about their performance so far?
I think they're incredible. I've loved watching them. Shinsuke has such a unique style and personality. I think it transcends his nationality. I think that our best performers do that because they are about embodying this larger-than-life character and about connecting with the audience. I think that the Japanese performers have brought with them a very unique style. Shinsuke is the strong style, as he mentions, and as he is a part of his character. And I think that, performers from all over the world are breaking through and rising to the top. And I'm excited to see who else is going to get there.
Okay, so do you think Shinsuke have a chance to win Royal Rumble?
Anything is possible, but I cannot give away our secret.
Okay, so our last question is, what is the best Raw moment? I mean, in terms of
my best Raw moment?
Yes.
My best Raw moment is the one that I described before, which is announcing the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match.